Hello, my name is John Rose, and in this video I'd like to take a closer look at two huge obstacles that are getting in our way when it comes to solving most of our problems. And that'd be our belief system, especially the knowledge we need, that's piece number one, and the dark side of our behavior, that's piece number three, and that's the number one source for false knowledge. Now, what I'd like to do in this video is go back about 3 years where I started trying to figure out how to group all you guys. I'm a typologist. I like to group things in different things and create little puzzles and interlocking puzzles and try to see how they all connect to everything. So what I've done in this area with these two pieces, pieces one and pieces three, I've created four main groups to put all you people in. Meaning us. All of us fit into these four main groups relative to these two pieces. Piece one, the knowledge we need, raw vegan diet, yoo-hoo! And piece number three, the dark side of our behavior, especially the darkest of the dark side of our behavior. Those are the psychopaths that are running the show. So, when it comes to pieces one and pieces three, we either know about them or we don't know about them. And then, we either want to know or we don't want to know. And then, we're either capable of knowing or we're not capable of knowing. So when we look at these four main groups, there's actually 13 pieces within those four main puzzles. So there's actually a total of 17 pieces altogether. So if we look at the four main groups, there's going to be 3 pieces in all 4 of these. And that is, do you know it or you don't know it? And then, if you don't know it, do you want to know it or you don't want to know it? And then, are you capable of knowing it? And this is a tricky part right here. I added this into the equation, so to speak, because they came out with a study back in 2010, October of 2011 rather. It was about, they called it unrealistic optimism, and they showed how we run to denial. And see, this is what a lot of us do with piece number three. This is our collective shadow. A lot of us don't want to admit we've got a collective shadow. It's scary. No one wants to admit that we live in the twilight zone. And it's frightening to think that the psychopaths are running the asylum. So this is one of the ways we run to denial, to avoid those unwanted aspects of ourselves and our shadow that Carl Jung called ourselves are the society, the collective, and that's what Carl Jung called our shadow. Individual shadow, collective shadow. The collective shadow is what keeps us where we are. That's why I say it's one of the big obstacles. We don't have the knowledge, but there are people who don't want us to have it. We have to understand how they play into the equation. So, right off the bat, we either know about piece one and piece number one. We either know about piece one and piece three, or we don't. So, the first group, these people don't know about either one of them. And if I project forward, pieces 1, 8, 11, and 14, none of them want to know. They don't know in every case, and then they don't want to know. So if we look at all 17 groups, I can say 4 of those people are not going to be trim tabs. They're not going to be in the first wave of heroes. No telling if it's going to be the second or third wave. But we know they're not ready now. And none of you guys should be here, except I know you are, because I've already seen a lot of internet shills out there. And I'm going to have a real firm policy with this. I'm not going to put up with internet shills. I'm going to be deleting your post as well as any other post that I feel is counterproductive to my mission. And it's not my ego, it's solving problems. I'm going to be strong here. I'm going to put my foot down. I'm going to delete any post, any comment that I believe is taken away from my message. Now, I encourage an open debate. I'm not saying, no, let's not debate things. But I know when we're being distracted. I know when we're going down a rabbit hole. And I know how I want my comment section to be understood. I know how controlled opposition works. They come in and throw shit everywhere, so when anybody visits it, you can't make any sense out of all the good comments because there's so much bullshit in there. So I'm going to delete the bullshit. And if you're not an internet shill and your comment's been deleted, then you're probably just a useful idiot, according to Lenin, meaning that you don't know the evil you do by interfering with my message. Now, currently I'm talking about one topic where we've been bombarded 1 billion times. It's this way, this way, this way. I'm over here saying, let's look at this way. I'm already getting comments from you guys, without you looking at this, and you're throwing more of this crap on me. We already got too much of that crap. Open your mind and look at the other side. I've done both. When you look at both sides, it's really obvious. One is bullshit, and the other the other fits all the other pieces. It just fits. So what we have to do is to make sure we don't get lost down the rabbit hole. I've already had one comment saying, you're not looking at the big picture. No, you're trying to get me to look into the details. We don't need to peel the onions, the layers of different onions. It's good to know that, but we don't need to know the details of a lot of things. We don't need to know who the bastards are. We just need to know what they're doing so we can do damage control. All we need to know is to go upstream, and that's how we destroy that aspect of us. But we still got to do downstream work based on what they've done. I don't care who they are. It's a distraction when people come on and start going that direction. So I'm not going to let that happen to this channel. I'm going to be very firm, and if you've had a comment deleted, then there's a chance you might be a useful idiot, or you just don't understand how it's interfering with what I'm trying to present to the public. And that's all that matters. This is not my ego. I'm not going to take any abuse of attacking the messenger either. I know that, I've already seen that. I know how you guys work. I studied this. I know how you name call and you show pictures and try to appeal to people's emotions instead of their intellect. I'm not going to put up with that shit on this channel. So I'm going to be real firm, and if you keep doing it, I'm not going to let you come on anymore. But I encourage that just because I delete your comment doesn't mean I don't want you here. I still want your comments too. Not all your comments are going to be in the area of being a useful idiot, but there are going to be some areas where you're letting the bullshit that's bombarded your brain affect you, and you're not looking at the other side. All I'm saying is look at the other side first and realize the role the darkest of the dark side of our behavior has in playing this whole thing. So, once again, we got 4 main groups, 17 altogether. 4 of these pieces, 1, 8, 11, and 14, they don't know and they don't want to know. Yeah, like I said, there's 3 main pieces in all 4 of these areas. The first, don't know, they don't want to know. The second is, hey, I don't know, but I want to know. Okay, I love that group of people. But guess what happens when you want to know? When you're told the truth, you don't want to hear it. You shut off your frontal lobe, and that's what this study proved that came out in 2011. Unrealistic optimism. They hooked up a whole bunch of people to MRIs and asked them 80 questions. Should we never eat cooked food? No, shut off the frontal lobe, don't process that information. Have a mental processing error. That's how we run to denial. So that's what this study did. It shows how we run to denial. So what I've done with my raw vegan survey, so to speak, is to incorporate denial into the different groups of people. So we have those who don't know, don't want to know. We have those who don't know, they want to know, but when they're told the truth that they can't eat cooked food, they run to the starch solution. When they're told that there are psychopaths that are running the world, they run to denial. They don't want to admit that we live in hell. And I don't blame you if we didn't have a solution, but we have a solution. This isn't helpless. In fact, we're in the driver's seat if we just wake up. That's all it takes. That's all it takes is for us to wake up. So then the third group, of course, like I said, there's 3 in all 4. The third is, I don't know, I want to know, and guess what? I don't shut off my frontal lobe. Those are the guys that I'm going for right now. Most of the people I'm appealing to for the trim tabs are the ones that don't shut off your frontal lobe. Stop going back to the bullshit that you've been brainwashed with and throwing it at me. I've already seen that bullshit. And the problem that we all have, and I feel sorry for so many of us, I can really relate that you invest so much time and energy in learning something. You got volumes of books you've read, all this knowledge you know, and if someone comes up and says, hey, those are written by the victors, that's all bullshit, none of it's true, or there's partial truths that make you think it's true, how are you going to feel about that? You don't want to let go of that big investment. I understand, trust me, this is one of the biggest problems that we all face, is that we don't want to let go of that. A classic example is what happens in archaeology. What happens if you devote your whole life and career to studying a certain idea or whatever you call them in archaeology, theory, whatever, and then all of a sudden you find an artifact that totally disproves your whole theory? What do you do with that artifact? Do you destroy it and forget you did it? Shut off your frontal lobe and what do you do? What do you do? These people have knowledge filters. So the first 4 groups I told you about, pieces 1, 8, 11, 14, they have knowledge filters. They don't want this new knowledge to come in. The rest of us, if we struggle, if we want to know and we can't, it's unrealistic optimism. We're running to denial because we don't want to give up our cooked food. We're addicted to cooked food. We don't want to accept the fact that we've got some really sick people that are going to attack the truth and the message. So what we have already on my YouTube channel is a lot of internet shills. And I hate to say it, but a lot of us are useful idiots. And I can say that because, damn it all to hell, I was a useful idiot not very long ago. I didn't know any better. That's why I'm passionate about helping you understand this, because no one wants to be a useful idiot. No one wants to help bad people do bad things. But we do when we do nothing but just throw back up the shit that's put into us without us even thinking about it. And this is what I see all around us, and I understand it. But please check your emotions. Open your mind, look at the other side. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to do more studying. And if it's true, all this is wrong. My God, what do I do? Do I entertain the idea? Do I cling to this volume of libraries of knowledge that I have that makes me think I know? What do? There's only one answer to that question. You do what you're supposed to do. You become the best that you can be. You understand the role piece number one has, but the thing is, like I said, the first group, they don't know about 1 and 2. The next two groups, one knows about 1 and one knows about 3. They don't know about each other. Then the last group, the fourth group that I put people in, and this is the ones that know both about piece 1 and piece 3. There's a lot of you who know about that. In fact, it's kind of hard not to know about it. And this is one of my main missions, is to unite these two groups. I know a lot of you don't understand. Why am I throwing this in? What's this conspiracy stuff? Look, there's two groups of people we need to unite. They're all in the truth movement. One's mainly in health, and the other is the shit that's going on on this planet. We got to unite and realize we got to unite. We got to upstream with the raw food, downstream with understanding how to do damage control based on what these people have done to our belief system, and how we automatically think we know. We've seen pictures, but the pictures are lies. The pictures aren't telling you the truth. You've been deceived. You've been duped. Open up your mind. Be excited at the opportunity to grab some of that bullshit and pull it out of your brain. It's a good feeling, just as good as getting rid of that mucoid plaque, or whatever you want to call that old stuff that comes out of us that's extremely controversial, just like discussing something like the Holocaust is controversial. But we need to understand it's an important piece of the puzzle. One of the most important tools that are used against us is money. It's huge. It's huge. That's why I'm being attacked by the internet shills. And you useful idiots, you can't help it. You've been brainwashed all your life to believe in lies. And if you're told something over and over and over again, you're going to be asking stupid questions like, where do you get your protein? Huh? Where do you get your protein, man? Where do you get your protein? Don't you see? We've all been duped. We're all fools. And we can't let our belief system keep us from understanding the lessons to be learned from history. Otherwise, history repeats itself. We don't need to know all the details, not important. We got to always look at the big picture and not let someone trick us to going into the details thinking, oh, you're not looking at the big picture, John. You got to come down here, down this rabbit hole. Hey, I ain't no fool. I have all the pieces in the puzzle and I know where they're at, and I know when someone's trying to distract me. Because it's simple once you have a clear picture. You got to get reconnected. Raw vegan food, hard to do. Juice feasting, juice fasting, a solid food vacation. Down below, first step. Watch the Deborah Duncan show. Listen to the Dr. Roba interview. Get pumped up, get excited. We can defeat the dark side of our behavior. If all of us get reconnected, then we won't have the dark side of our behavior. That's how we defeat that aspect of us. But we can't change everything overnight. Society's damaged just like we are. In the environment, we got to clean all that up. So we got to do downstream control. These psychopaths have done a lot of damage in our society with all their laws and bureaucracies and everything else. We've got to do a lot of downstream work. We got to gain back the airways. They belong to us. We got to stop this privatization of natural resources on the planet. The natural resources belong to all of us. We got to wake up to see what's going on. And most of us usually don't have both of those pieces together. And then it's interesting when you get into that very last stage, to go back to how I come up with 17 pieces once again. Remember, there's 4 main categories. There's 3 in each one, has 12. Well, the first one has 4 extra, and then the last one has one extra. So when we go to the last one, well, let me go backwards. When we go to the first one, the reason why there's so many is because there's two things we don't know, you see? And that's why there's like 7 in the first, and then 3, 3, and 4. So in the last one, we still have the same 3, but then the fourth one kicks in where you're in group number 17. This is where you will want to be. This is where you understand that a raw vegan diet is a solution upstream. That's when we also understand that we've got to take back control of what these people have done. We've got to work downstream. We've got to deal with the damage done by the darkest of the dark side of our behavior, because the sickest of us are exploiting the sickness in man. And they're taking advantage of us being sick. So we can turn that around by going upstream, but again, we've got to understand the downstream work we have to do. And the main thing we have to do is understand we live on an abundant planet. Life is a huge illusion where we believe in scarcity. And now we're competing for resources when we should be cooperating and sharing the abundance we have. We've got the raw mentality. That's why when we go upstream and get reconnected, guess what it does? It changes our mentality. We realize we're all one. We no longer have an exchange mentality. Money's not an issue. We took away the absolute tool of control. So ultimately, down the road, that's where we want to go. We won't have an exchange mentality anymore. But in the meantime, we've got to do damage control. We've got to do away with debt-based currency. And once again, I'm not going to put up with distractions trying to get us go down rabbit holes when we don't stay focused on the main piece of the puzzle. So I'm going to be deleting a lot of posts if you don't stay on topic. And I don't mind you talking about certain things as long as it doesn't take away and distract the point I'm trying to make. Again, I'm not saying we can't debate certain topics, but only until you look at the other side. I'm getting crap thrown at me, and I know none of you guys have looked at some of this yet. The evidence is overwhelming that we've been duped about a lot of history. The evidence is overwhelming. We got to question everything. We've got to be the change in which we want to see, and we have to believe only our own experience. And that comes when we test an idea whose time has come. So ask yourself, what group are you in? Are you an Internet Shill and you're 1, 8, 11, and 14? You don't know, you don't want to know, you're just here to create chaos and distract everything and take 10 really good comments and throw a bunch of crap in there, so all you see is a bunch of crap when people come down here. I ain't gonna put up with that shit. I ain't gonna put up with a bunch of crap on my YouTube channel. I want people to come and figure out what to do. I want to get us out of Plato's cave and get back up to paradise. And I know most of you do too. So help me, when you see bullshit on there, help those people realize that, hey, are you an Internet Shill or are you a useful idiot? Don't you know what you're doing? Don't you see how you're doing exactly what they want you to do? Because they bombard your brain with bullshit all your life. You actually believe certain things are true, and you don't even question them. Question everything. Question what I say. I don't mind you saying I don't believe you. How do you know this? Well, you don't have to ask me. It only takes a few moments of research to figure out the truth in both these areas. It's obvious as long as you don't look at the bullshit they've already been telling us. Just look at the other side. And then once you look at the other side, then go ahead and take a look at what they're saying. You go, what? What? You expect me to believe this crap? All of these pieces fit to everything else. All of yours fit also that you're obviously the bad guys. So, we are the enemy. But we are also the ones that we've been waiting for. And when we become those people, we're in for a treat.